Good evening, everyone. Prep and Mama here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I talk about all things preparedness, and I have special needs and all kinds of different things going on. So it's a variety of things that I cover here. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I hinted about talking about last spring, and I never got to, and that is how to network discreetly or with discernment. So the first thing I wanted to say was, as far as networking, and I know that people ask this question a lot, but I think you need to decide why you feel like you need to network or meet others in the prepping community. Are you just looking for people that are like you, that you can become friends with? Are you looking to build your own utopia? Are you looking to learn from others and teach others? What is your purpose for meeting others and trying to make connections in the prepper community? I think you need to decide that before you decide how and where you're going to make connections with other people. So there's that. So you need to decide, okay, well, yeah, I want resources that I can call on when something happens, or I want to learn such and such, and I'd like to find someone else that maybe we can trade skills with, or I want to set up a network now in case there's a catastrophe. I have all of these relationships established with people. That could be advantageous in many ways. If you have relationships with law enforcement and emergency services personnel in your local community, chances are if things go haywire, you're going to have an in, or perhaps just having those relationships could be advantageous in many ways. So there's that. If you're just looking to learn other skills from people, or you just want friends basically that have the same mindset, just decide those things before you go for it, okay? All right, so the other thing I wanted to say is the word prepper is kind of negative in general society, unfortunately. The media and the shows like the prepper shows and whatever kind of make us seem not completely normal. And you and I both know that we're all normal. We're just paying attention more, and we're trying to be responsible and take care of our families. And that is not weird, and it doesn't have to be weird. But, the way that people see us and see the word prepper or prepping can come off that way. I think it's getting a little bit more mainstream now, but I just wanted to tell you that being prepared and preparedness is not weird, and those words don't strike the same negative connotation that prepper does. So I think that if you go about establishing relationships with people in the name of preparedness, it's a little bit different, and I think you might find people a little more open to talking to you about it, or they might just not think you're so weird, right? Of course, now there's traffic, right? Anyway, I wanted to say first that I think the best way to establish a preparedness community around you is just to teach the friends you already have skills. And don't be afraid to let them see that you have these skills. And I'm not talking about food hoarding and that kind of thing, but when it comes to preparedness, if first aid is your thing, then let people know that this is my thing, I'm interested in this, and take classes and meet other people who are interested in that area. If home canning is your thing, there's nothing weird about that, right? It's normal. People have been doing it for hundreds of years. So share with others about how you do it and teach them the skill. And maybe they have a skill you don't even know about because you've never asked them. So I think you should start with the community that you already have first, and then branch out from there. And I think the way we branch out is, and forgive me, but as an extrovert married to an extrovert, some of this might not apply to you if you're introverted, and I'm sorry. I'm going to try to give you some tips, but I don't really understand introversion. So it's hard for me to come up with ideas for you, but I'm going to try. If you are interested, okay, so for example, people kind of know that I like to garden, and they kind of know that I like to cook, and I'm kind of known for that, okay? How many times did I just say kind of? I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm known for these things. Does everyone know that I'm a prepper? No, they don't all know that. Some of my closest friends do. Some of my closest friends don't. It really just depends, right? It's not like I have a secret life or anything, but it's not something that comes up. I don't have food buckets hanging around my house all the time, right? It's just not something that necessarily comes up with certain people. But then there's other people that are more homesteady and do those kinds of things also, and they might know more about what I do. It just depends. So I think you kind of have to use discernment in a way, and I feel like I'm rambling. I kind of have my thoughts organized, but when I use notes, I don't do well, so I'm just talking. And if something I say is unclear, leave a comment. I will try to clarify it for you. But I just think it's kind of an important subject to cover, and I don't want anyone to be fearful about trying to network. But I think that you should know why. Why are you trying to network? And then I think that you should think about other ways to go about it other than, joining American Preppers or whatever, okay? So start with the community around you that you have now, and then pursue learning skills that you want to learn. And when you do that, because you're learning skills that have to do with preparedness, you automatically meet others who are like-minded, at least in some ways, right? So in October, I'm taking a class that's put on by our county sheriffs and our search and rescue called Prep U, like capital U, like Prep University, and they are putting this on for free, or for a very nominal. I think we're paying like $5 for copy fees or something like that. And I expect that I will meet other like-minded people at this course, right? It's an 8-week course, and when we're done, I'm supposed to have a plan all ready to go. And not that I don't already have some plans, but I think it will help me get organized. And my friend took the class, and she said, I thought I was knowledgeable in this area, but I learned a lot. So I'm going to take that class, and I expect to make other connections, and I specifically expect to make law enforcement connections and search and rescue connections, because I feel like, and once again, I'm an extrovert, so networking and meeting people is part of who I am, but I feel like the more connections we have with people in emergency services, the better. If something happens, and if something local happens, it's always advantageous to have those connections. It's advantageous to have those connections whether something happens or not, right? You know people, it's good to know people. I know you introverts are like, I don't need anybody, I'm sitting at home, and I don't need to know those people. Well, you might. I mean, unless you're completely self-contained, you might have a need to know someone who knows something or who does something. So just keep your mind open about these things, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there a little bit. I know that's hard for introverts, but I also know introverts who feel like they need to network with other preppers. So anyway, okay, so bring your community around you and learn from them, the community that you already have, assuming we all have people around us that we already like, right? Because that's kind of important. You want to like the people you're hanging around. If you don't like them, don't hang out with them. That makes no sense. Understand? You can have acquaintances that you're like ho-hum about. You don't have to spend time with them or invest in them. Invest in the people that you enjoy being around, that you have, things in common with, that you have connections with, that are kindred spirits. If anyone's an Anne of Green Gables fan like me, all right, then you know what I'm talking about. It's great to know a lot of other people. It's great to network. It's great to put together people who need each other. I love doing that. It doesn't mean that I spend a lot of time and investment in people that I don't really want to spend a lot of time with, or who I just don't hit it off with. Okay, you don't have to spend time with people that you don't enjoy. You're an adult. It's okay. All right. We're not doing forced socialization anymore. If you're out of school, you're not doing that anymore, right? Sorry, Sorry, the traffic got really super loud. And then I wanted to say, and this is not about prepping, but one of the people that I met first when I relocated to Oregon, I met at the library. And that was 20 years ago. And we struck up a conversation because we were both at the library with our kids on a school day. So we already knew we're both homeschoolers. We have something in common, right? I know this woman to this day. Our daughters were friends. That was a connection that has stood the test of time. So that's just an example of finding common ground with people first before having a relationship with them or starting a relationship with them or pursuing a relationship with them. So the way you do that is you could be part of a local homesteading group on Facebook. You can make connections like that there. You can usually tell by someone's posts their mindset on certain things. You can meet people through your church. About 5 years ago or more, our church actually put on preparedness courses. I thought that was awesome. No, we're not Mormon either, I swear, but our Christian church did that. And I thought it was awesome. And we did it in conjunction with law enforcement. We had law enforcement come in, we had fire come in, we had all kinds of people come in and talk about different topics in this area. And it was a whole thing for like at least a term or something, like what would be a school term, like a semester or something. I was really impressed with that. I love our church. It's awesome. If you take a master gardener's class or a master food preservers class, there you go right there. You already have common ground with those people. And those are the people that you want to kind of get to know if you like each other and hit it off and find out if they're of the same mindset. And when you have conversations with people, you can usually tell if they're thinking the same way you are or not. If you can't, then you might work on your discernment a bit. I think that's probably a good idea. So the way you do that is just being mindful about what people are saying and actually listening to what they're saying and listening to how they're saying it. And, you know, if you want to bring up something in the news that has you concerned preparedness-wise or something like that, you can kind of find out what they think by bringing something like that up. But honestly, I think finding common ground with someone first, and if you already have a group of friends, you already have common ground with them, right? So I think that that's your best place to start. Family and friends that are close to you, ones that maybe don't get stressed out too easily because, you know, too much information can stress out a lot of people. I know I have to be careful how much I input from the news and social media because I can get stressed out by it instead of just keeping my head down and doing what I need to do. So anyway, start with the people you know. Start with the people around you that you already like. And then go from there. And if you don't have people around you, I have met some people at the park that I'm still friends with. I have met people at the grocery store that I am still friends with. You can meet people anywhere. You can strike up a conversation with anyone. I know some cities are less friendly. I think maybe I have an awesome city. I can start talking to someone in the grocery store line and they do not think I'm weird. I know that might not be the case where you live. But, you know, also, hey, you go to the bookstore. Is there a preparedness section? Is there a homesteading section? Is someone else in it with you? Strike up a conversation. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt you to put yourself out there and say, hey, have you read this book before? I'm wondering if it's like this. And then you go from there, okay? And if they look at you weird and they, you know, walk away, then you know that's not the kind of person that you want to be investing in, right? That's not a kindred spirit, okay? And so the other thing I want to say is, when you find these people that are into preparedness, as you are, you do not have to let it all hang out. Nobody but my husband knows what we have. My kids don't even realize what we have for preparedness. They don't know where everything is necessarily. And they don't know what everything is necessarily. unless they're old enough to. But just because you find you have something in common with friends, or you share your skills with them, that doesn't mean that they have to know everything about everything that you do to prepare. Nobody needs to know that, but the people who will be inside your inner circle, in your home with you if something happens. So that's basically my ideas about prepper networking. My whole idea is not to have a utopian compound or whatever where everyone lives together. That's not necessarily what I'm going for. I have adult children who probably come home if something catastrophic happens, and my parents might end up here. But knowing them, they'll stay in their home as long as they can, because they're independent and they're pretty healthy. But those are the only people that need to know how prepared you are. You can, the way I see it is, it's a sharing of skills and ideas, and you're encouraging others around you to have some of the same thoughts on preparedness as you are, and maybe you're helping them along too, and that's great. I think that you can do that without letting it all hang out, and I think the more people you know, and the more people with different skills you know, and the more people you know in emergency services and local governments and all of that stuff can only serve you well, even if nothing ever happens. So those are my thoughts on networking discreetly and with discernment. And I hope you found it helpful. I'm sorry it was rambly, but that seems to be the easiest way for me to make a video. I don't like editing and I don't like reading notes. It's not me. I don't do well with it. So thanks for joining me tonight, you guys. It's Friday night, and I'm going to go in and do a family movie night with my kids. If you are interested in anything preparedness, or if you're a special needs parent, or if you've got other health concerns going on, but you want to be more prepared for natural disasters and other things like job loss that might happen, those are the most likely scenarios. There's other things that I'm not going to get into tonight because I don't want to be stressed out. Then stick with me and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. And I'll let you see what I do. And, some of the stuff we do is a little bit crazy. We always have projects going. It's never boring here. And I'm glad to have you. So, have a great weekend, you guys. Preppin' Mama out.